All right, welcome into another episode of the Goodman and Hummel podcast. I'm Jeff Goodman. He's Robbie Hummel, and we have a lot to talk about. We have some breaking news this morning, Rob. Some breaking news involving your Duke Blue Devils, not Blue Duke Devils or whatever I was going to call them. Coach K's grandson, Michael Savarino, was pulled over and arrested at about 1:10 Sunday morning for DWI. And that's news unto itself, obviously. You know, he's a walk-on the Duke team. He's 20 years old. He's underage. But the bigger news is that there was somebody in the back seat, one of his teammates named Paolo Banchero. And Paolo was also arrested for aiding and abetting DWI. And I guess what that means, Rob, is that aiding and abetting means that he pretty much allowed.
Gave him the keys. You drive, right? That'd be accurate. Gave him the keys.
Either gave him the keys, or I think even failed to prevent him from getting behind the wheel. So I think it was either knowingly turns over their own vehicle to the other person, or fails to prevent an impaired person from getting behind the wheel. So could have been either. But ultimately, now they both got court dates in early December. Savarino's is December 9th. Paolo, who's 19 years old, is December 8th, the day before. And the big question will be, what's the punishment? Listen, I don't know if you're willing to admit this, but I certainly am. When I was 20 years old, I got behind the wheel impaired. I did. And obviously I regret it, and it was stupid. But I'm not the only one. Michael Savarino is not the only one. It happens around the country. And again, it's dumb. And hopefully this will teach him a lesson and teach Paolo a lesson. But, the bigger thing here for a lot of people is, okay, what's the punishment going to be? Luckily, these two are okay. Nothing happened to them. They didn't get into an accident, anything like that. But what does Coach K do with his grandson? Number one, his grandson, who's a walk-on, who was also involved a year ago, not even a year ago, when the season shut down due to COVID, Rob. It was Savarino who contracted COVID at that point, according to my sources. So Savarino now is had some dealings here that are not favorable for the Duke Blue Devils and his grandfather.
Well, at this point, you're just like, why don't you Uber? Like you can, it's so easy. You click an app on your phone and you just, I just don't understand. We don't know if Paolo had anything to drink. I mean, and look, this is why I think being a college coach would be awful. Like you're asking these kids on a college campus where everybody is drinking not to make bad choices. And look, we know players drink, college students drink. That's fine. Like it's an accepted part of our country, right? Like it's kind of like a rite of passage. But to get behind the wheel in this season where Duke has, just so much positive momentum at this point. It's Coach K's farewell deal, and you beat Kentucky in the Champions Classic, and just distractions like this are not good. Now I would assume that Paolo won't get hammered with a suspension. If he's just sitting in the back seat of the car, I can't imagine that he's going to get a long suspension. For Coach K's grandson, who knows? If this is strike two, DWI is a pretty serious charge. I think for teams that want to be great, these are things that you can't have happen. And I'm not saying it's going to derail the season or anything like that, but this is just, you have to understand that when you're trying to win a championship, and that's what Duke is trying to do. They have a team that can win the national championship. These are the types of things that you have to avoid. You have to understand. And I think that when I played for Matt Painter, he did such a good job. He would always say, when you're done playing, you can drink as much as you want. You can do whatever you want then. That's right. But right now, we're trying to be one of the best college basketball teams in the country. And he said that knowing that guys were going to go out. Fun. Yeah. And that's not what he meant. He meant basically don't get in trouble. Don't derail the season because of one night out at a frat party or a bar. And this is the type of thing that can do that. If let's say that they crash the car, now you are looking at derailing the season. It's just not a good decision. And I'm sure Mike Krzyzewski just is probably sick about it, honestly.
So they have Gardner Webb tonight. We're shooting this. We're recording this right now, Tuesday, late morning. Then Lafayette, and then Citadel. So the next three. I would listen. All I know is if this were my daughter, granddaughter, whatever, and she were an athlete and she were, I'm coaching her in any team, she'd be suspended for the next few games for driving while intoxicated. She'd be done. At least 3 games, probably more, to be honest.
You're not giving the Mark Few suspension, huh?
I'm not. No, I'm not. Especially again, right. Yeah. And I was just out. We'll talk about that later here. Because I was just out in Spokane. But Paolo, I wouldn't be shocked if Paolo gets suspended for the Gardner Webb game tonight.
Just tonight and plays going forward. That's totally fair.
Well, you know what
his grandson should get more.
You know what the game is after Gardner Webb, Lafayette, and Citadel, right?
I do not know.
Gonzaga in Vegas right after Thanksgiving. He'll be
irony there.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there.
I wouldn't be if they spend him a game or two. That's totally fair.
Yeah,
that's a total.
And
unless something new comes out,
suspend him. I'm not even obviously he's in a tough spot. Should he have said something? Yes, but
I honestly did not know it was illegal, and maybe in some states it's not.
Right.
I thought if you were the passenger in the car, you were taking a giant risk for yourself.
Yeah. But
I didn't know it was against the law.
And you don't know a lot of times, right? Your buddy's always, I'm fine. I'm fine. Right. What you have? Is Paolo really going to ask Michael Savarino, Coach K's grandson, how many beers did you have tonight? Like he's not. He's not.
No,
he's going to trust them. He's going to trust them. And
I would think from an optics perspective, they probably have to suspend him tonight, but you're totally right. He might not even warrant a suspension depending on what happened.
Yeah. I don't even think I'd suspend him unless he were blasted in the back seat or something.
No, that's totally fair.
Yeah. I'd hit Severino with a couple weeks. I wouldn't let him go to Vegas personally, especially if I'm his grandfather, right? Even more. Really, though, like it is. It's like, listen, I'm going to hit my daughter harder than I'm going to hit anybody else because she's my daughter. Like I gotta make a statement to her for her life.
Yeah.
And you should for any player. Really, for any player, that should be the case. Is like, no, drinking and driving is stupid. Like I can't believe I did it when I was a kid. I can't believe how dumb I was to do it, and I got away with it. And I don't want my daughter doing it. So